What's going on, guys? It's Investing Hustle here, and today we have a very green day. We have Aurora Cannabis up over 10%, and if you guys caught my pre-market this morning, you guys would have known that in the pre-market we were up over 10%. We had a hot morning. It seemed to slow down a bit, but I'm going to show you guys some charts right now. We're going to take a look at the news on Aurora Cannabis. First, we're going to look at Aurora Cannabis and these charts. So if you guys watched my previous video, which was titled Aurora Cannabis Prediction in 1 year, you would remember these this support line and this resistance line right here. And today it looks like Aurora Cannabis barely touched that resistance line right around here, this uptrending resistance line right here. It barely touched it and then immediately rejected it. And I did not move my lines. You guys could watch my previous videos. You guys could check them out. This is exactly how my previous lines were. I did add a new resistance line right here at around 1250 because if we do look back in time, we seem to have a bit of resistance for Aurora at around 1250. We hit it here at around 1250, and we hit it here a bunch of times during the September-October run. We hit 1250 here, went above 1250, but 1250 seems to be the new resistance line, and I'm not even going to say if, but when we break that resistance line, I do expect Aurora to go back up to the 15, up to above $14. We'll probably have a new resistance at $14 once Aurora breaks past that 1250 resistance line. I'm not even going to say if, because I have a very good feeling that Aurora will be breaking past the 1250 resistance line. So let's just draw this line right here. And if these patterns do continue, which I don't think this uptrend is going to continue at this pace, but if it does continue, it does look like around mid-May, May 15th, May 16th, we might see Aurora hit $14. This is strictly a prediction. None of this is guaranteed, but if this uptrend pattern continues, we might hit that resistance line around May 15th, May 16th. It's going to be pretty interesting to see if that's going to happen. Right now, Aurora Cannabis is at $11.77 Canadian, and if you guys want to look at them on the American price, they're at an $8.89 American. Unfortunately, I don't have any lines drawn for the American ticker symbol, but we are going to look at the Canadian lines right now. So it's looking very good for Aurora right now. Now I'm holding on to my core position. So I think at this point, I'm just going to be patient with Aurora and hold on to these shares long term, unless I see Aurora drastically spike up to, let's say, $14, $15 at a quicker pace. Like, let's say Aurora gets to $15 before mid-May. Then I might collect some profits, because at that point I will consider Aurora overbought. But overall, it's amazing news for Aurora Cannabis. I'm sure a lot of you Aurora shareholders are very happy. So right now, like I said, these are some key resistance lines to pay attention to right now, $12.50. And if we pass that and break that resistance, we will probably have a new resistance at around $14. So hopefully we're looking to make a nice run this year. It's looking really good so far, but let's move on to the news. So before we go into the Aurora Cannabis news, let's talk about Hexo, because Hexo also had a pretty decent day today. I just want to look at Hexo real quick. So Hexo went up 7% today, and right now with Hexo, we're hitting a support. We're hitting a nice little support. We're gonna see if we break past it. I actually did sell some Hexo today. I sold. I'm currently holding 1,000 shares of Hexo, and I sold 400 shares. I collected some profit. It's bounced off this resistance line way too many times and immediately got rejected. So who knows? This might be the one time that it breaks past this resistance and I happen to collect some profit. Either way, I'm still holding on to 600 shares of Hexo. We are currently uptrending. We do seem to be making higher lows. So this uptrend looks very good right now, but we're about to hit this triangle pattern right here. And usually what happens when we hit this, it's either gonna get rejected and dip below, or it's gonna break past support and start making new highs, and we might start seeing Hexo reach its previous highs of $9. So that's something that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Hexo right now is currently sitting at $7.92, currently hitting that support, that resistance line. So we're going to see if it breaks past that resistance line, and if it does, and we might see Hexo back at $9 once again. So let's go on to Hexo news. Hexo rose due to the deal with New Strike Brands. So Hexo rose early on March 13th. Hexo rose after it announced that it will acquire New Strike Brands. The deal will add 470,000 square feet to the company's capacity. Hexo said that the acquisition will add 400 million Canadian dollars to the company's annual revenues by 2020. So about the deal will cost Hexo 263 million Canadian dollars in an all-share transaction. New Strike shareholders will get about 0.063 cents per share of Hexo per New Strike share. Every 100 shares of New Strike will equal to $6.33 shares of Hexo. If we do the math, $6.33 shares of Hexo, which closed at $7.40 Canadian dollars before the news was announced, equals to 46.9 Canadian dollars. New Strike Brands HIP, which closed at 0.45 Canadian dollars, would be valued at 45 Canadian dollars, a premium close of 4% based on the closing price on March 12th. Let's take a look at HIP real quick. Let's see how they're doing today. And HIP is also having a very nice day. They're up 11% today. So both these companies have benefited from this deal. HIP is currently sitting at 50 cents, up 11.1%. They're still in the bottom of their 52-week range. So this company might be making a nice run. The only thing I want to keep an eye out on right now is this gap. Usually when you see gaps, these gaps tend to fill, but because it just made a deal, it could continue to push forward. It does seem to be overbought, a lot of volume going on right now. Let's look at the 5-minute charts real quick. So momentum keeps pushing this company forward. There's a lot of volume. So at this point, anything is possible. It is near the bottom of its 52-week range. Technical analysis gives it a buy and a strong buy. The 1 minute is also probably a buy, and a strong buy. So HIP is also looking like a hot stock right now. HIP and Hexo are on fire. On top of Aurora Cannabis, it just seems like a green day overall. Let's just look at HIP's financials and see if they do look a little overvalued. 73 price to revenue. Price to book is at 13. Total assets 162 million with a market cap of 250 million, which isn't bad. Let's move on to some other news, which is by Jim Cramer's thoughts on Aurora Cannabis.
Aurora Cannabis is real money stock of the day. They just added Nelson Peltz as an advisor.
I know Nelson very long. Nelson is the expert in consumer products. Nelson on the board of Procter. Nelson used to be on the board of Heinz. This is the endorsement that Aurora needs to be able to put it big time. Aurora has a market cap of $8 billion, moving up. Physical sales was for 2019, 232 estimate. Okay, 232 million. You know, compare that to Tilray for 2019, 193. Kronos, which of course is big stake of Algia, they are only going to have 85 million. And then the big daddy, the one that is valued the most, $16 billion, is Canopy. That's because of Constellation. Remember, we had we had Bill Newlands from Constellation, and we had Bruce Linton, and they're supposed to have sales of 184 million. So what you have is a company that's undervalued.
Undervalued. Now, should we be worried that
versus the others?
Should we be worried that Nelson Peltz, who is known as an activist investor, is joining the board?
No. Nelson is a guy who really helps. A lot of people on the Procter board tell me very good things that since he joined the Procter board in that brutal proxy fight. So maybe, I mean, look, the consumer packaged goods companies have to start doing more in cannabis. We know that Coke and Pepsi are not interested. We know that the Vice squads are. It's all Vice, right? Tobacco's interested. Beer's interested. They're trying to cover their flanks. Neither Coke nor Pepsi feels like they have to cover their flanks. I would tell you that the grand ambitions of Canopy are incredible because they are, remember, Canopy, the Linton side is doing healthcare. The other side is doing, the Newland side, Constellation job, is doing, let's say, the pseudo-alcohol.
When someone so respected by Wall Street joins a cannabis company, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, look, I've known Nelson for a very long time, and it means something. But remember, when Altria bought big stake in Kronos, that was more significant. And the $4 billion the Constellation put in Canopy is more significant. Remember, it's who puts money in that matters more than who gets options to own.
So let's move on to some more news on Nelson Peltz. I'm just going to try to touch up on the important parts. So Nelson Peltz, past investments could pave the way for Aurora Cannabis to disrupt the consumer packaged goods industry, CPG. Shares of Canadian cannabis company are soaring on Wednesday, marking double-digit gains for much of the trading day after the announcement of Peltz's new advisory role. Nelson is a globally recognized business visionary with a strong track record of constructive engagement to generate accelerated profitable growth and shareholder value across many industry verticals that are of great interest to us, Aurora CEO Terry Booth commented. So to be sure, Jim Cramer noted that many of the consumer packaged goods companies that Peltz has dealt with in the past are not yet sold on cannabis. The consumer packaged goods companies have to start doing more in cannabis, but we know that Coke and Pepsi are not interested, he acknowledged. We know that the Vice squads are, tobacco is interested, beer is interested, because they're trying to cover their flanks. So what do you guys think about that? Jim Cramer just said that Coke and Pepsi are not interested into getting into the cannabis sector. I think he might be wrong. I do think that one of these companies are going to land a deal. If it's not with Aurora, they will be landing it with one company. Maybe they're waiting for an American company, but maybe Nelson Peltz is going to help Aurora Cannabis land this deal that we've all been patiently waiting for. This company already made one very nice run, 10% today. And if they land a deal, I think they're gonna prepare themselves for another huge run. And that's the main reason why I didn't sell all my Aurora Cannabis shares yet, because I think at this point anything is possible. So this is an article titled "Why Pot May Be Closer to Mainstream as Nelson Peltz Advises Aurora Cannabis." So Peltz in a statement said he hoped to use the appointment to evaluate Aurora's many operational and strategic opportunities, including potential engagements with mature players in the consumer and other market segments. Peltz's involvement in food industries also runs deep. He is a non-executive chairman of Wendy's and a director of Procter and Gamble. He was also a director of Mondelez, which owns Oreo. Peltz also once held that position with H.J. Heinz Co. So those are all very respectable and big companies, and that just shows that Peltz has a very good track record and has a very good history with these companies. We believe that he could be instrumental in facilitating discussions with large consumer packaged goods companies, GMP Securities analyst Martin Landry said in a research note on Tuesday. Landry upgraded Aurora Cannabis stock to a buy. Landry also hiked his price target on the company to 15 Canadian dollars. Peltz is the CEO of the hedge fund Trian Fund Management. Trian in recent years has also pressured GE to cut costs and shake up its leadership. His appointment to Aurora comes as the cannabis industry burns through cash and draws more scrutiny from analysts over costs. So now here's the final article. Aurora Cannabis, Nelson Peltz, and the move for acquisition. There's no obvious positive catalyst this morning, but that may be part of the reason that the market continues to trend higher. If there was positive news, it would be a good excuse to take some profits, but since there is nothing specific, there is much choice but to stay with the uptrend until something changes. FANG's names are doing well this morning. Small caps are better, but the most interesting action is in the cannabis sector this morning. The big news that is Aurora Cannabis has brought in deal maker Nelson Peltz as an advisor. This is an obvious signal that the company is looking for acquisition, and the CEO specifically mentioned consumer packaged goods, beverage, cosmetics, and wellness. So there you have it. This is an obvious signal that the company is looking for an acquisition. So that looks like very good news, and they brought the right guy, Nelson Peltz. Aurora has been developing a very attractive chart as it's attempted to break over resistance at around 825 American. I have a position and we'll be adding more shares today as the intraday pattern develops. This should be a top go-to name in the group whenever there is a new headline. Despite the attractive ACB story, my favorite name in the cannabis sector continues to be Pyxis, P-Y-X. So there you go. It looks like Aurora Cannabis is preparing to make an acquisition. This looks like good news all around. Aurora Cannabis is doing amazing today. Hexo is doing good. HIP is doing good. Let's just take a look at Aurora Cannabis one last time before I leave you guys. And Aurora Cannabis is currently sitting at $11.84. So at this point, I will be holding on to my Aurora shares. I do think a deal is coming very soon. So congratulations to you Aurora shareholders. Enjoy your gains. That's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about Aurora Cannabis. Are you guys still holding on to Aurora? Will you guys be buying more shares, or are you guys collecting your profits? If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, don't forget to hit that notification bell and smash that subscribe button. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye-bye.